In this video, we're going to focus on how we create a strip chart here like this, where we have every data set in a specific column. So to do this, what we need here first is our border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page, and of course join the Discord channel for any questions. Sorry. So let's start to look at how we can do this. First thing what we want to do here is understanding we need to have multiple data sets, and every data set should have the right structure. In my opinion, a strip chart, is basically a scatter chart. So let's start to work on that first. So what I'm going to do here, is an X, and let's say here, this is a value of 0.5. And I'm going to use a range from 0 all the way to 1. And then we play around with that. And then we have here the Y value. I'll make it very simple. This will be 1. And then we just keep on going. And let's put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. That's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, I'm going to just range it anywhere between 0 and 1. So 3, 4, 8. Save. Refresh. Alright, so we have this here, just ignore this. We're going to remove the labels. We don't need the labels here because we have a scatter chart, and that should be here. So then everything else would nicely match. Alright, so now we have a scatter chart. Let's compress this scatter chart to only one stripe here because we have, strip. It's a strip. So here 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 or 5 strips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these data sets here. Comma, paste, comma, paste, comma, paste, comma, paste. Alright, so we have 4 or 5 cases here. Let's get some colors or differences in color here, and then this one would be a different one. There we are. Then this here, remove. And we have another one like that here, and then I guess we have now the not the final, almost the last one. This, and finally the last one here. Let's grab or remove everything except the red one. Let's save this, refresh. There we are. We have them all. They're all stacked on top of each other. So now what I want to do is I want to compress them, or the red one will be in here. To do this, I need to say here in a scatter chart we need to work with multiple X scales. So we have here one X, and I guess we can say here begin at 0. And then I say comma, and I'm going to say here, or the min will be 0, or that is already in there, so it's begin at 0, and say max will be 1. Let's do that, save, refresh. Alright, now I'm going to compress these all together, and I will make not one scale, I will add another X, but this will be X number 2, comma, paste, comma, paste, comma, paste. So we have 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. So what we're going to do here is what we call scale stacking on a horizontal level. So basically we have 1 scale, 2 scale, 3 scale, etc. So let's save this, refresh, there we are. So right now they're just on top of each other on a vertical level. I want to make them now horizontal. To do this, I'm going to say comma, and then I'm going to say here, this will have a specific scale, and we can say here stack. This will be the scale stack, and we call this a strip. There we are. And they need to be identical names so that they are all nicely together and part of each other. Because if you don't give them a name, it will be eventually put below here. So we have all of these, all 5. There we are. I don't like these numbers. I'm going to hide these numbers, but I also want to make sure that all of these data points are on the right position. So what I'm going to say here, for this one here, we'll say here the x-axis ID will be x5. And then we can just copy this, put a comma here, paste, and this will be x4, and etc., etc. And you can give them other names, but if you give them another name, make sure you have the name here. Let's say if this would be water or something, the scale here, x, should be water as well. Very important. But I'll just keep it like this. This is immediately recognized in Chart.js. So we say 2, and then finally here the x, comma, we can say here just the x or you can remove them. It will automatically understand that the first one will be X, but I'll just put it in there so it's very clear. There we are. Now we already have almost what we want. The only thing what I want to remove here is all these numbers here, because I want a category access here, or more specifically, text. This should here just say weekly sales 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever these labels are. And I think here right now we have only the weekly sales. So we could basically get that label here. That could be red, blue, etc. We can extract those and just put that one here at the bottom. So I'm going to remove all of these excess data, ticks and tick marks. So what I'm going to do here, say comma, I'm going to say here grid, and then I'm going to say display false. Let's remove that. Save, refresh, there we are. So then what I want to do is, I want to also remove the label. So I say here the ticks, and I'm going to say here labels, or sorry, display false. False. Save. There we are. Now that's gone. Let's apply them for all of them. So I'm going to copy this, comma, and then paste that in there. Then I say here, comma, paste, comma, paste, comma, paste, and I think we're done there. There we are. Now we have that cleared out. We can remove this here. I think that was the design of the specific one, was the grid should be removed from the Y scale as well. So let's do that. Comma, and let's save that. There we are. So now what I want to do is I want to create my artificial lines here, and then have a label as well with the sales or whatever the term is that we're going to extract the label. To do this, I'm going to create a plugin, and the plugin will be here. And to understand what I mean here, we go all the way up, we follow this line here, it's after the options. So then I'm going to say here plugins, and then we can say plugins, this is an array, and we can just say X labels. So I'm going to make my own custom labels and lines, and I'm going to put it here up. So I say constant X labels, and then we say here equal the ID of X labels, and then we're going to say here before data sets draw. We're going to draw this before the data set, although it doesn't really matter if you do before or after. Anyway, we're just going to do it like that. Then what I want to do here is say constant, and then we're going to do an object destructuring. So say CTX, we're going to say scales, and normally if you see many of my videos, we say X and Y scale, but in this case we have multiple scales, so I'm going to put them all. So X, X2, X3, X4, X5. We can get the Y scale, but I think it has no value in this case. So I say equals the chart object. These are all the scales that we have to name. Of course, if this would be, let's say water, then this scale here would be, of course, water as well. That would be the same name, so be aware of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say here ctx.save. I'm going to save all variables above, and let's start to draw, I guess, the basic line here. However, this line here, if I draw this, if I open up here my console tab or the developer tab, you can see here we have very minimal space here. I want to push some padding in here. So let's do that first. So we have space for the text and everything else. So I'm going to say here in the options, I'm going to say here layout. I'm going to say in the layout, I want to add padding. And specifically, I want to do it at the bottom. So once I did that at the bottom, and then I'm going to say here, let's say 30 pixels, comma, save, refresh. There we are. If you see here, you can see we have the line, the chart area goes up 30 pixels of additional space, and you can see this is the line where it ends of the canvas. Beautiful. So now we have space to draw our item. So once we did this, what I want to do here then is go back here. And then what we could do is, well, we could do a few things here. I want to get all these labels here for each of them. Well, let's do the line first. CTX. So we're going to say here CTX dot begin path, because I'm going to draw a line independent of anything else. Then we say here CTX dot fill style, because we want to have a color for the line, or sorry, stroke style, because it's a line, so that's a stroke style. I'll make it black, or let's make it original color of this here, and that is RGBA 102, 102, 102, 0.2. There we are. So once we have the stroke style color, which is the light grayish color, what we want more is, I need the position. So I say ctx dot move to, and what I need here is basically x and y position. What are the x and y position? Well, basically we can get them from our scale. This is the reason why I have these here. So first of all, for the y, I need to start at the very top, or at least the scale top. So let me just show you so you have a clear visual. Let's do a console log, and I'm going to say x. You could do x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't really matter which one you use, but we're going to use this specific one for this case. Let's open up this, there we are. And you can see here the bottom where it starts. X bottom is basically the bottom of the scale, which is probably here at the bottom. And then we have here the top. And the top, let's see here, x scale top. Let's look for the top. There you are. Oh, apparently the bottom and the top has an approximately 8 pixel difference. Interesting. So later on we have to play around with that. So that means there's 8 pixels. This is the top, 312, and then it goes a little bit down 8 pixels to be exact. That's the bottom. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start here at the top, but that is then x dot top. That's basically the one I need for the y value, because that is the vertical positioning. What about the horizontal positioning? Well, we can easily find it. For now, you could say we can just get the left one for this, but what I will do is I'll just get the position of our scale. And what I mean by that is, remember, this is minimum of 0 and this is here 1. So I'm just going to get here 0, and all of these are 0, 0, 0, except for the last one that will be 1 at the very, very end of the scale. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say here x.get pixel for the value of 0. That's it. And once we did that, I'm going to copy this and do another one, and we say here bottom. Then make sure you have semicolons here to make it neat. Then I'm going to say here ctx.draw, the drawing command, because this is an intention, and this is move. My bad, I make a mistake here. Move to, and this is line to, drawing the connecting line, and this is the starting point, this is the connecting point. And then here, draw these lines. Let's save that, refresh. Alright, we're getting an error, so let's see what's going on. ctx.draw is, alright, my bad, it's not draw, it is stroke. I want to draw the stroke. So I'm thinking of drawing, but I draw the line. That's what I want to draw. There we are. So if you look at it, you can see here, but it's not really that things. So we could say here, maybe for the bottom, let's say plus 20 pixels. Doing that, we extended it. So let's start to do that for each of them. So we could basically copy this, or maybe do it here. We can copy all of those items. What I could do here, constant scale array. I'll just make it like that for now. And you can, of course, fine-tune it in the way you would like to do this. I'm just going to do it like this, because then we can do it for each loop here. For every scale array, we do a for each loop, and then we're going to say here for every scale, or scale ID, let's give it like that. And then we say here the index function our expression, although it doesn't really matter. We're going to say here this scale ID. Let's cut this out, put it in here. And then we're going to loop through this with the scale ID, and that will be this here. We'll replace this with scale ID. So every scale will get one. Let's save that, refresh, there we are. You can see here. And maybe it's very hard to see, so let's make it a bit more visual. There we are. What about the last one? Well, the last one will be the very last. So in that case, what I want to do here is for the very, very last, I'm just going to copy this. Again, put it in there. Oh, there we are. Put it in there. Then I'm just going to grab this x5, but we're going to do here whatever is the last value. In this case, it's 1, but you could imagine if your ranging value is not from 0 to 1, but maybe 1 from 0 to 500, or even this could be 1 to 500. In that case, you have to rearrange your beginning value and your ending value. Alright, so that's very important. But we can just say this Or we could even do the last one. That would be the last resort. Is we could just grab here the last item, x5, maybe even this. We can say here this will be the right side, and just put it on the right. It's one or the other. Let's save that, refresh. Oh, did it work? Scale ID is not defined, of course, because it's x5. So it's one or the other what you have to do. Pay attention on that. That's very important. So now we have this here. I want to have the text in the center, and then we are good to go. So what I'm going to do here for the text, we can loop through every data point we have. And I don't know what color these are. Let's say here this is C, this is D for delta, and then we have echo. Let's save that, refresh. All right, let's grab those, put them in here so we have a visual, these labels. So what I'm going to do here, say what is that, the data, and I have to do this. What I want to here is I'm going to say put a comma here and get the data object, which is basically access to this very point here, data, and then we go into data sets and we loop through every data set that has a label and show that label at the bottom. So we're going to do that right now. So it's data dot data sets, and we say dot for each, and then we say for every data set index, we're going to say function arrow expression. There we are. And then we're going to say here, I want to grab here the data dot label, and for every data label we're going to put a text in. So how do we do this? Quite simple. What we have to do here, the first one is let's see here, ctx dot fill style to give it a color, and let's make this black. I'll make this very straightforward. Then what we can do here is ctx, or maybe we can even give it a color, doesn't matter. We can do from data, I guess that's the data dot I'll leave it for now, sorry, I'll just leave that. Let's keep it black, and later on I'll just check. We do console log to see what that is. So we say here next is ctx dot font to define the font. That is maybe 12 pixels. Let's make it bold, that's really nice. And then sans serif, because this is our standard font that Chart.js is using. Then we say ctx dot fill texts, and the fill text will have the text label or the text X and Y. What we're going to do here, going to grab this one here, and we can say here the label will be this. And then let's see here, what can we do with this one? Well, I guess since we're looping through all of this, we can just grab these. So what I'm going to do is we have this array here. So what I want to do here, array, and then the index. So whatever this index is, we're going to say here, get the position. And then, well, let's see. Let me double check this. All right, this one is slightly more tricky. Normally what I would do is I would do a calculation, but I have assumed everything is from 0 to 1. So I'm going to use an easy way. If you have a more specific case, let me know in the comments. I'll make a separate one. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to say for the index, that will give us the specific scale. And then we're going to say here, get pixel for value. Since they're all 0 to 1, I'm going to say I want to have 0.5. That's the center. I know that's the center. Then we can say here maybe the bottom will be the Y, the scale array index. And say here bottom plus 20. I guess that should be, we can save that, refresh. 147. All right, so this one is slightly, we're missing something here. Maybe we could even do this one easier. Let me check, because this is the Y value. We could maybe scale X. I can just get that one. I realize we can just say X dot bottom. They are consistent with each other. All right, let's see, where's the error here. Index, get pixel for value. I think we forgot a dot here. That's my bad. Dot, because this here is basically now X or X1, 2, 3. There we are. I don't like the positioning yet, but we're getting very close to completion. So what I want to do here now is say ctx.textAlign equals center. Make sure that this is a string value. Save. There we are. I feel that this is far too low. Instead of 20, maybe say 10, because this is 12 pixels, so that could be a little bit higher even, but that's fine. So you can play around with that one. I'll make this 0.2. Save. And then of course they are all being looped in here, so I need to make sure the loop value. There we are, and that's it. So let's see if I hide one. There we are. You can see here. Beautiful. And that's it. That's how you create a stripe or a strip chart. Sorry, that's the right term.